Voice Mother, and today I'm going to be reacting to Valhalla Calling, Miracle of Sound ACapella by VOICEPLAY featuring J Nunn, the winner of the first ever Fairy Folk Friday poll. I don't know anything at all about the wider context of this song. I think it's from a game. Can definitely get behind the idea of sound being a miracle, especially when it comes out of Jeff. And so the ACapella train is at the station. All aboard.
Ships on vigor of the waves are skimming, bearing summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning, rise and reign. Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, ravens soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fate determined, shield and speed. Vows of favor are the thrill of plunder, pulled together for...
They must have been sweating their titties off in all that fur. Christ, it's making me hot just looking at them. Jeff is basically wearing an entire bear. It looks quite uncomfortable and honestly not that realistic, because if it was freezing enough to warrant wearing a full bear, why would you have your arms out? Hearing him sing such long phrases in his bassy voice is such a treat.
Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, ravens soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fate determined, shields and speed.
Because we can hear how he kind of copes with it. When his bass notes kind of trough, if you can call it that, like when they get very low, you can hear more pops and crackles, like more of a fry quality, and then they come up and you get less of it, and then when they dip down again you get more. He has definitely been working on his bass voice a lot. I'm noticing that there's far more consistent vocal fold closure now on a lot of the lower notes, and he's trained his low end so much to the point where he can actually control a type of voice that is below what you would call mode 1, like a chest voice, but above what we would call a pulse register or a mode 0. It's kind of the bridge between the two.
Shields and speed.
We talk a lot in singing about the passaggio between mode 1, like the and the mode 2, finding the bridge or passage between the two so you can have a lovely smooth mix voice or whatever. And so this is like a similar kind of thing, a bridge between and So one thing I've noticed, if you want to predict what's coming next in a VOICEPLAY track, and actually any good acapella, it's in the mix. At the very beginning, we know that very soon there's going to be something low to come in before it does, because of the way that it's mixed. It's all very high and thin. And what I mean by that is the way that they're performing this, like, oh, it's very strong. They mixed it in a way that it sounds thinner than what it actually is, because they need to make room underneath for you know who. So then in comes Jeff, right? With his low, bassy goodness. And then after Jeff's in there doing his thing at the bottom and they're doing their thing at the top, then the middle space starts to get filled with this
Valhalla Calling.
They have that kind of shimmery sound on the stomp, so even that isn't taking away any space from Jeff's bass zone. The low frequency bass end of a VOICEPLAY song always has like a sign on the door saying, isn't that a beautiful transition, the way that he finishes on me and then Jeff's like and the way that they have affected that really low B that he sings makes it sound like a ship, like a foghorn. And then the next word is ship.
Ships on vigor.
So all of these subtle things immerse you into this world and create this spooky, shippy, magical Viking face tattoo ambience. You may also notice here as well that he doesn't do the E vowel the same as the me. He's doing a oo vowel. And you'll be able to see this for yourself if you try a normal note in the middle of your range. E, oh. This will basically drop the larynx for you and therefore kind of have this elongating effect on the vocal tract, and it will resonate a little bit lower. He lifts the larynx and shortens the vocal tract for a higher resonance, which usually suits higher notes.
All the clan and kin, clank of hammers and the crash of thunder pound within. Oh, the echoes of eternity. Oh, Valhalla calling me. To pluck the strings of destiny.
Very nice.
Valhalla calling me.
Now, to aid this fantastical, mystical vibe that's going on, they're using very dramatic pronunciation of these words as well. Like it's not a gentle, emotional pluck. Pluck!
To pluck the strings of destiny.
I'm getting a very musical theatre vibe. Oh, he means it. Oh, there we go.
Sails are swaying on the crimson river, blood and glory in the fighting field.
Shields are shattered into splintered timbers, iron and steel. Fires are rising and the bells are ringing. Glory take us into Odin's halls. Golden glitter at the sound of singing. Mascots call.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. Like that really? This is so bloody high and impressive. I'm gonna try and convey quite how high this is.
Glory take us into Odin's halls. Glory take us into Odin's halls. Glory take us into Odin's halls.
Needless to mention that those examples all happen to be world-renowned, incredible female singers known for their belting. And those are the same notes. It's one thing to hit a quick, cheeky C sharp like a yeah, but it wasn't. It was a full entire phrase on those notes.
Fires are rising and the bells are ringing. Glory take us into Odin's halls.
That is so difficult. To be able to do that without tensing and destroying your voice is the hardest thing, because you need a lot of support to kind of stretch your vocal folds while keeping them thick to get this belty sound quality. And because it needs a lot of support, sometimes what happens is we support it so much to the point where we squeeze. Absolutely unbelievable. Practice, practice, practice. It's very inspiring.
Valhalla calling me.
Oh, look at you!
Valhalla calling me.
It's just a different filtering of breath. Initially, to start off with this high sound, you might lift the soft palate and have it resonating in this tiny little space, which is going to sound thin. And then as you progress through the little tremolo, you're lowering the jaw and pushing the lips forward. And so suddenly, this breath is being filtered lower. This whole section here is really... And you know when the camera does that wobbly thing in a voice play cover, it's about to get real.
The echoes of eternity. Valhalla calling me. To pluck the strings of destiny. Valhalla
does the pluck, this very kind of plosive, aggressive, forward, ferocious situation, very much in character, has to then be completely displaced to make sure that that top note isn't shouty and instead it's belted well.
To pluck the strings of destiny.
If he'd have kept it all here, it would have been like, pluck the strings of destiny. It would have been really shouty because you can't belt with lots of, that's when we see the singers with a lot of tension here and it's all shouty and vessels are popping and children are screaming. Something that's quite interesting to note is the singers that appear to produce their massive, big, beautiful, belty, agility ridden phrases with ease, chances are it's not as easy as they make it look. Inside them will actually be a crazy multitasking balancing act between the character that they want to play and their emotional instincts, for example, the temptation to just shout a high note, and their knowledge of how their voice works. They've got to combine all of these different things to make sure that you don't hear any of that. We're hearing something that's smooth and perfect and maybe a physical movement that just looks like it's unrelated. Chances are it is related and they've practiced it like that and planned it, especially if it's a tricky phrase like this one. Moving that destiny into the back means that the voice is resonating in a slightly smaller space, and it will also encourage him to not squeeze. Hey! Hey! Chances are it will feel easier to launch your voice when you come back because everything's a little bit more aligned.
Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me.
Oh! Don't you just love how wild that was? Ah, the little force belts in it. Oh, I love it. He can belt in so many flavours, you know. And they're all my favourite. Whoa! Check the green screen on that. And by that I mean mystical teleportation device, obviously. And in this section, I think we finally get that feeling that the sonic spectrum is full. The drum beat is very present, and there's also like this kind of buzzy sound surrounding the whole thing. It's either a little stringy synth sound or it's a specific type of reverb they've used to make it sound kind of white noisy. It's got that kind of zzz. They could have done something to Jeff's bass line. I don't know, it doesn't really matter.
I'm more like a guy, feeling eternal like I'll never die. Getting revenge and eye for an eye. Ready for battle and ready to fight. Ready for war, right at the top. Ended with blood from the head of my ops. This how I go, it don't ever stop. This what I do, I'm up at the top. Wrap the hell raining down. When it come, they hit the ground. They all end up 6 feet under. Their souls end up in the clouds. Fight for the crew cause we'll bleed and we'll brawl. Always protect to be free, never fall. Pray for the glory, the conquer the greed, and we'll never forget Valhalla.
Very nice.
Echoes of eternity.
And isn't that something? The way that they completely managed to change the tone of the whole song. Same singers, singing in the same key, but as soon as he starts rapping, everyone's role changes. A lot of it is to do with the drum beat, because that is the scaffolding. It's the foundation upon which everything is built. You know, if he started to do like a Brazilian funk beat, you know, it would completely change everything. That's the biggest thing, but there is more to it. The rhythm of all of the parts has changed. So before, both the bass line and that kind of lead melody was whoa, 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 you know, very off the beat. And now it's like ooh. Oh, and the vocal tone is obviously very different.
Ready for battle and ready to fight.
Much softer, much breathier. And that is allowing the rapping to shine. Because imagine if they were like, oh! And he was like, I'm not like a king, I'm more like a guy, feeling eternal, I can't even die. Gonna be utter chaos. Look at his eyeballs! Oh, he means it. No doubt. he means it. And then we build very subtly underneath that by increasing the pitches of the backing vocals.
Or right at the top, ended with blood from the head of my ops. This how I go, it don't ever stop. This what I do, I'm up at the top.
Then something very special happens.
I'm up at the top, wrap the hell raining down. When it come, they hit the ground, they all
Eli/Ellie, still don't know, sorry, does this really beautiful. This could definitely have been a main feature if the mixing engineer wanted it to, or if the arrangers wanted it to, obviously, because you can hear there's a lot of power in that, a lot of fullness. But by turning it right down, it's amazing because you get all of that fullness, but in the background, so you get a full background. It's really cool. I love this. I really do. But if you were live in the room hearing them sing this, the way that they've sung it, all the parts, it would sound very different. You wouldn't hear things anywhere near the same way as you hear them in the recording because how they process it. And I love that creative use of post-production. Very nice.
Echoes of eternity. Valhalla calling me.
to pluck the strings of destiny. Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me.
This is so cool.
Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling.
Oh, that was fun. So after the rap section, it builds, it builds, it builds, it builds, it builds. It plateaus for a second with some nice even rhythms, and then in comes the camera wiggle, in comes the big, bloody, beautiful, bassy, belty bonanza. And that's really cool because these notes make an F sharp major triad. So when you play that in isolation, it's like, oh, this is nice for a second, and then it's like, no, it's not. And it's just bloody brilliant. I mean, it's just, let's play a game of guess the amount of octaves they managed to cover between them in the last note. I guess 86. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm kind of not. And yeah, that's definitely in there. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the B. So the B is kind of in there in 5 octaves. I mean, the state of ACapella these days is to the point where you just don't miss instruments anymore. They can just do everything. The drums, the synths, the bass, the strings. I mean, at this stage of human evolution, we're realizing that you can actually make all of the instrument sounds that we'd spent thousands of years crafting out of wood. You know, they were in here the whole time. That's not even to mention that you can't dress up a cello in a suit of armour and a fur rug. I must leave you until the next video. But before I do that, I'm going to read you today's oracle card. It's cute. The Not So Greyhound. You are more than the sum of your social conditioning, your age, your birth name, ethnicity, gender, or sexual orientation. You are whatever you want to be. Take off the mask and show yourself. Don't be afraid. It's a more beautiful life ahead. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. If there are any singers you would like to see me react to, please do let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to influence the kind of videos that I make here every Friday, then you can join Patreon for as little as £1 or dollar or whatever it is a month, and vote every week for the song that you would most like to see me analyse. If you're here at the premiere, then big premiere hug for you! Have a wonderful day. Love you loads and loads and loads. Bye! And it won our Fairy Folk Friday. F me, that's hard to say. I think sound when it comes out of Jeff. Gosh, that sounds so weird.